Running a small business is often sold as the ultimate dream. Be your own boss, set your own hours, and finally take control of your financial future. Social media feeds us stories of entrepreneurs who built empires out of garages, scaled service agencies to seven figures, or launched passion projects that became movements. But beneath these headlines lies a quieter, more common reality, one that doesn't make for flashy content, but defines the lives of most small business owners. This article is about that reality. It's about the silent burnout, the revenue ceilings, the customer churning, and the overwhelming feeling of being stuck in a business that was supposed to set you free. It's about why most small businesses don't scale, why owners get trapped working in the business instead of on it, and most importantly, it's about how to break free. We'll explore four key lessons that separate scalable, healthy businesses from ones that become glorified jobs. These are insights I've learned not just from personal experience, but from watching my father, a self-made entrepreneur, build a company that lasted decades while raising a family, and from learning what not to do, both in my own ventures and by observing countless others. If you're in the trenches, juggling operations and sales and strategy and fulfillment, and wondering if this is as good as it gets, this article is for you. Let's begin with the first truth. Lesson 1. Owning a business doesn't mean you're free. When I started my own company, I genuinely believed I was chasing freedom. I left a well-paying job, turned down offers, and invested in my skills. I was determined to build something that reflected my values, my schedule, and my lifestyle. But within 6 months, I was working longer hours than ever. Weekends blurred into weekdays. I couldn't travel without checking my inbox every hour. Every client, every crisis, every deliverable came through me. I wasn't free. I was trapped. It's a cruel irony. The very thing meant to liberate us ends up enslaving us. The problem? Most small business owners don't build businesses. They build roles for themselves. They replace a boss with 10 clients. They trade one job for 10 jobs. My father used to call this gold-plated self-employment. It looks shiny on the outsider: revenue, independence, flexibility, but it's still a job, and often a harder one. True business freedom doesn't come from working for yourself. It comes from building systems that work without you. It comes from shifting your mindset from being the technician to being the architect. And that starts with clarity. You need to ask yourself, what kind of business am I building? Am I building a practice where my time is the product? Am I building an agency where I manage a team and clients? Am I building a scalable asset that I can one day sell? Each path requires different strategies, structures, and goals, but they all require one thing: intentional design. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't design your business around freedom, your business will design your life around work. You'll always be busy, but rarely moving forward. You'll always be needed, but never replaced. And one day, you'll look up and realize you've just built a job that no one else wants. Freedom starts with systems. It starts with hiring, delegation, automation, and boundaries. It starts with saying no to low-leverage work so you can say yes to long-term growth. And it starts with seeing yourself not as a doer, but as a builder. If you're constantly in the weeds, delivering services, managing operations, handling customer issues, then congratulations, you have a job, a demanding one. But if you want a business, one that can grow, scale, and serve you, you need to remove yourself from the center of everything. You need to build something that can run without you. That's the first and hardest mindset shift. And once you make it, you'll never look at freedom the same way again. Lesson 2. Revenue isn't the same as profit. When you're in growth mode, it's easy to fall into the trap of chasing top-line revenue. The more you earn, the more successful you feel. I remember the first time we crossed a $250,000 annual run rate. I thought we'd made it. I celebrated. I told friends. Then I looked at the bank account. Despite all that revenue, I was barely paying myself, our expenses, contractors, tools, taxes, marketing ate up nearly everything. Worse, we had months where cash flow was tight, and I had to dip into personal savings to make payroll. That's when I learned a painful but essential truth. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is reality. Many small business owners mistake sales for success. They book big contracts, sign major clients, or launch new offers, and assume that more revenue will solve their problems. But if your margins are thin, your overhead is bloated, or your payment terms are poorly structured, more revenue just means more pressure. And that pressure builds fast. It shows up in late nights, in credit card debt, in arguments with spouses, in the kind of silent stress that doesn't show up on Instagram, but eats away at your sleep and your sanity. I had to sit down and rework everything. We simplified our offer suites, trimmed unnecessary subscriptions, and negotiated better rates with vendors. More importantly, I started paying myself first, not as a bonus, but as a line item, because if the business couldn't support the owner, what was the point? Then came the shift in pricing. We doubled our rates. It was terrifying, but we did it strategically by offering more value, niching down, and positioning ourselves as partners, not just vendors. To my surprise, we didn't lose clients. In fact, we attracted better ones who respected our work, trusted our process, and didn't haggle over every invoice. Sustainability doesn't come from working harder. It comes from pricing smarter, operating leaner, and protecting your profits like your future depends on it, because it does. If your business isn't consistently profitable, it's not a business. It's an expensive habit. Raising prices wasn't just a numbers game. It was a psychological one. I had to start seeing our service not as a commodity, but as a transformation. Our offer wasn't a few deliverables. It was results, and results are worth paying for. This changed our entire positioning. We stopped selling what we do and started selling what they get. That alone allowed us to reduce scope, increase margins, and cut down on revisions and delays, because clients finally saw us as experts, not order takers. I also began forecasting, not just tracking what we earned, but planning what we needed. This gave me clarity on our break-even point, our ideal margin range, and our runway for reinvestment. We weren't just running a business anymore. We were managing capital. And that's when it clicked. Profit isn't a bonus. It's the business. If you can't extract profits consistently, you don't have a sustainable model. You have a cash-eating machine. And eventually, you either burn out or break down. Sustainable businesses prioritize efficiency over ego. They say no to complexity. They master a few offers instead of chasing every trend. They structure delivery around consistency, not heroics. And they always make sure the owner is the first one paid, not the last. So if you're feeling the pressure despite solid revenue, take a hard look at your margins, do a cost audit, refine your offer, raise your prices, protect your sanity, because a business that bleeds silently doesn't need more sales. It needs more structure. Lesson 3. The wrong customers will break your business. When you're starting out, it's tempting to say yes to everyone. I did it. We all do. You convince yourself that any revenue is good revenue, that every client is a blessing, and that you can figure out the fit later. But here's what I've learned the hard way. The wrong clients cost more than they pay. They drain your energy. They ignore boundaries. They haggle over price, but demand top-tier service. They micromanage your processes, delay feedback, and never quite seem satisfied. Worse, they distract you from serving the right clients, the ones who value your work, trust your judgment, and refer you without hesitation. At one point, I was working with 5 different types of clients across 4 different industries. Each one required custom proposals, custom workflows, and custom onboarding. It felt like I was reinventing the wheel with every project. My calendar was full. My profit was thin. My sanity? Almost gone. That's when I decided to niche down. We analyzed past projects and looked at which clients brought the most revenue, had the smoothest collaborations, and left the best reviews. The pattern was clear. Our best clients shared specific traits. They had urgent needs, trusted our expertise, and valued outcomes over process. So we built our ideal client profile and started saying no to everything else. Yes, it was scary. Yes, revenue dipped for a month or 2, but then everything changed. We attracted more of the clients we wanted. Our marketing became sharper. Sales calls got shorter. Delivery was faster. And referrals, they doubled. Finding product market fit isn't just about your offer. It's about who you offer it to. You need to be ruthless about fit. Ask yourself, does this client respect our process? Are they come-oriented or cost-obsessed? Do they align with our values and communication style? If not, let them go. Your business is a reflection of the clients you choose to serve. And if you serve the wrong one, you'll always feel like you're failing, even when the invoices are getting paid. The right clients don't just make you more money, they make your business more joyful. And in the long run, joy is a better indicator of success than hustle. Lesson 4. Doing everything yourself isn't heroic. It's a liability. There's a moment every business owner hits. The breaking point where doing it all becomes impossible. You're not just the founder, you're the sales rep, the customer support team, the marketer, the bookkeeper, and the janitor. You're the first one in, the last one out, and the only one holding everything together. At first, it feels noble, like you're hustling harder than anyone else, like you're earning it. But in truth, it's not noble. It's not even necessary. It's dangerous. When you're the only brain in the business, everything depends on your capacity. Your energy sets the limit. Your availability defines the ceiling. And eventually, your burnout becomes inevitable. I used to think hiring help was a luxury, that I couldn't afford a team until I was bigger. But the opposite turned out to be true. I couldn't get bigger until I had a team. The real shift happened when I stopped thinking like a worker and started thinking like a builder. Builders don't ask, "How can I get this done?" They ask, "Who can own this so I don't have to?" That one shift changed my business forever. I began documenting every repeatable process, from client onboarding to invoice follow-ups. We built SOPs, standard operating procedures, that could be followed by someone else without reinventing the wheel. I started with a part-time virtual assistant, then a project manager. Eventually, we added contractors for design, copywriting, and development. Suddenly, I wasn't the bottleneck anymore. I could focus on strategy and sales instead of task juggling. And here's the surprising part. Everything ran better without my constant involvement. Clients got faster responses, projects moved quicker, the business looked and felt more professional. Why? Because people were doing work they specialized in. Well, I finally did the work. Only I could do. Delegation isn't just about getting help. It's about building a business that runs without you. Most small businesses aren't companies. They're freelancers in disguise. True freedom begins when your business generates revenue without your direct labor. And that only happens when you learn to build systems, trust people, and let go of control. Yes. Mistakes will happen. Yes. You'll hire the wrong person once or twice. But the alternative, doing everything forever, isn't just unsustainable. It's a slow road to resentment. Let go. Build your bench. Train your team. Because if your business can't survive a sick day, a vacation, or a mental health break, then it's not a business. It's a trap. Conclusion: don't build a business. Build a life. The promise of entrepreneurship is freedom. But the reality, at least for most small business owners, is very different. It's long hours, low margins, customer drama, team turnover, stagnant growth. Why? Because we're taught to chase busy, not better. Because we confuse movement with momentum. Because we think owning a business means working harder, when it really means thinking smarter. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can build a business that serves your life, not one that consumes it. You can create systems that run without your constant input. You can find and serve clients who energize you, not drain you. You can earn more by doing less, but doing it better. The shift isn't tactical, it's mental. It's realizing that success isn't about being busy. It's about building wealth, time, and meaning on your terms. My father didn't just teach me how to build a business. He taught me how to live well through it. He showed me that money without time is useless. That reputation without rest is hollow. That growth without joy is failure in disguise.
If you're tired of the hustle, the burnout, the ceiling, maybe it's time to stop playing small, build systems, protect profits, choose clients wisely, and stop doing everything yourself. Not because it's easier, but because it's smarter. And because your life is worth more than just surviving another Monday.
That's all for today's video. Thanks for listening.